Welcome to Authentic Space with Kasha and Chloe, who live their lives unapologetically. One thing that I have been working on in the past weeks with my coach, with my mental coach, whatever, is exactly the fact of not take things personally. Or also reversing the thing where it's like, example, I've lost 6.5 kilos in the past 2 months with this new routine that I have, a new lifestyle that I'm
Yay.
building. Yay. So it's like 6.5 kilos after being stuck for like almost 7, 8 months, going up and down, 5, 6, 3, 1, 2, whatever.
Yeah,
It's a huge, huge deal for me, especially because I'm
absolutely.
living the life. Like I'm eating everything. I'm being super healthy. I'm enjoying my life. I'm happy. I don't feel like I'm dieting. I feel like I'm just eating better. That's it.
Hmm.
And like someone would say, "Oh, you can't really tell. I cannot see that you lost 6 kilos." And you know what my
Hmm.
answer is? And my coach was like, damn, that's pretty badass. My coach was like, this is crazy that you just got this. And my thought when someone says that is just like, well, that's your problem. Like, I'm
But
not,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
right? Like, I'm not gonna let you bring me down because I worked so hard on this.
absolutely. This is exactly what we're talking about, like with people who are, when they're, when we see they're jealous or something, and it doesn't matter if they say it nicely or not nicely, it stops bothering us because we realize, oh, they're dealing with something.
It's like and also maybe because in my head I'm kind of okay. My usual idea here is if I don't have anything positive to say,
Hmm.
I will just like not say it. Meaning, if something,
You will not spread the negativity if
no,
if if,
no,
if there's, yeah.
because maybe this person is really just going through a lot of changes and stuff, and maybe it's not, like, I'm not gonna bring you down from your cloud 9. You're happy, you
Hmm.
feeling it, perfect.
Yeah.
That's just, I am not going to bring you down from there because it's not fair. Who the fuck am I?
Because
Like,
right, who are we to say that
no.
you get to live a certain way, and if you like the way you're living, even if it's being miserable, then that's your choice.
And if it's like, if what I'm saying it's not constructive, you know why would I say it? What's the benefit? So what's the benefit of you saying like, I cannot see that you lost weight, when you know that I have been struggling with this, and like I have, like, since, I don't know, like the beginning of times. Like, why would you do that?
But this is exactly an example of, like, it could be, it's an inner issue of that person, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
whether it's jealousy or envy, or it's the fact that it's something else, usually criticism, and especially when it's kind of out loud,
yeah.
it usually, there's usually envy or jealousy that's hidden behind every judgment and every criticism of
Yeah,
some sort.
look, if you have to be like negative like that, just shut up and don't mention it, because
Yeah.
it doesn't bring anything. Like, what are you like? Well, because I'm concerned that this thing that you're doing is not working, and it's like, it's my life. Like, I mean, in the end, it is what it is. Like, it's not, I've decided to do this and I will just do it regardless of what you think. So like, you not seeing it, well, it's not you not seeing it, it's you not wanting to see it. Like, it's, for me, it's obviously clear that there's something that it's just like, it's almost like you do not want to believe that I will ever succeed. Subconsciously, you don't think I will succeed in this. And so you convince yourself that, or it's never going to be enough, or, like, it's just, it's always been like this. And so it will never be different.
Yeah.
Right?
If someone is kind of saying something like that mean to you, then I feel that even if you've lost like, I don't know, 50 kilos, they'll still say it because it's something within them that's triggering
Yeah,
them.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It's just, having, like you said, like with not spreading the negativity. So
Yeah.
like having the awareness of like, okay, well, I'm, like it's triggering me that this person, just lost so much weight and maybe I want to lose weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
Yeah.
keeping it to yourself and just be like, okay, that's something that I need to work through or deal with, but there's no need of me to actually spread
No.
that out there because it really does has zero effect on that person.
Yeah, exactly. And I just rather not do that to a person or to someone, whatever. In general, if I have nothing positive to say about something, and I feel that, maybe what I could say could be misread or misinterpreted or what have
Hmm.
you, I just rather will not say it. And it's not
Yeah.
me being um like not being a good friend or whatever, because I will always like tell you something that I think it's hurting you or whatever. But if it's something that might bring you down and you're like super pumped and this and that, why would I piss on your parade? Like, I mean, to me that's just like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, I don't, it's really not me.
Yeah.
And it's just, yeah, I found that
Well,
very
the,
stupid.
the thing is that, humans are so complex. Our personalities, our brains, the way we are wired, our experiences, everything, like we're just super complex. And so the truth is that this is actually like, there's like all these amazing studies done on children and how they grow up and all that stuff. And sometimes, like I think there's two ways to look at this of like, oh, I'm not going to say something versus I will,
Hmm.
because like, like, so looking through those studies, there's a lot of like, they did children that were kind of raised in like, by bad families, but like, or bad parents, but by bad, I mean, whether it's toxic or there was like constant
Hmm.
conditioning of like something that just not healthy patterns.
Hmm.
And and then there were children born with like within people that are like super spiritual and conscious parents and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And and each family's had like more than one or two kids. And it's so interesting how like when they grow up, like later on in life, you can tell that like certain things like growing up, like they could have raised like an older sibling a certain way, and like that they turned out to be like not bothered by anything, and then the younger one was bothered by everything, even though it was like it had like the most amazing
Hmm. Yeah,
parents.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
the,
of course.
so yeah, so I'm kind of like, this thing is like, like the truth is that like sometimes, sure, we can kind of be like, oh, this thing that like maybe I'm kind of seeing, like I'm not going to say because I feel that it might have a negative effect on them, right? Or might trigger them unnecessarily, and there's really no need for that.
No,
But
there's no need.
sometimes,
That's the
like,
thing. It's good. It's free.
yeah, but sometimes the truth is that it's going back to the whole thing of like, you can say the nicest, sweetest thing to someone, and you might not realize that actually that's triggering them too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we just really never know, and we just always, I think, in communication in general, we just need to always kind of know that we don't know the other person, right? Like with me and my height, right? Like all these years people are like, oh my gosh, you're so tall, you're so tall. And the truth is, even like some of my closest like friends or whatever never knew that it actually bothered me,
Hmm.
that I actually had such a big issue around it, like an insecurity around it.
Like,
um
I knew it wasn't a surprise for me, because I feel like it was always like something that you mentioned when someone would like point at you as, like, oh, you're like a foreigner or whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm your tall girlfriend or something like that. Like, you were almost
yeah.
saying it with a bit of, not hatred, but just kind of like, like that. So I didn't know it was like as deep
Yeah,
as I found out
but
last
but
time.
for many years, and obviously not anymore. Now I can just be like, whatever. Like I don't even hear it anymore, right? But like growing up, and especially teenage years, kind of probably early 20s too. Yeah, definitely early 20s. it was so deep, that it just like it's almost like anytime I heard it, like my soul was just crying a river inside.
Hmm.
But I would never like show to anyone, right? So
Hmm.
it just that's kind of what I'm saying. Like we just never know how sometimes, like I remember, um, when I was a teenager, kind of living in New York City, and like some of my friends always knew me as like, I was always kind of like the happy person, like never sad or anything. Like it was always just like I was full of joy. Everyone wanted to have me in their parties, and it was just all of that, right? And
Hmm.
one time, this one friend and I, we were like out to brunch or something, and I kind of we started, I don't know, just kind of getting a little bit more vulnerable and stuff, and like, and something about like crying or something, and she's like, oh my gosh, like I would not believe that you ever cry,
Oh.
because in her mind I'm just like a pure, like, just like she's always happy or what have you. Well, what she doesn't know is that, especially kind of that age, kind of the immigration into the U.S., kind of the
Uh-huh.
teenage years, kind of that period. For me, the whole like happy and whatever was all a cover up of like I was so depressed inside
Oh.
that it was literally a cover up, right? So
Yeah.
just it's interesting how like we can put up like such an amazing mask
Hmm.
that even our closest friends can't even tell the difference.
No, and also I want to say that, you know, we are empaths. I mean, at least, I mean, I am, you are, etc. But I mean, we feel things, but we don't,
Mhm.
we cannot feel and understand 100% of the other person. People are, human beings are so complex. Like it's not, it's just,
Yeah,
mm, and also there are things that are so intimate that, first of all, we ourselves don't really, maybe still don't understand, first of all, like we haven't, I don't know, like figured it out or whatever or something like that. And at the same time, there are other things that maybe we don't want to share. Maybe there are weaknesses that we just don't feel comfortable in sharing and we want to keep for ourselves. And I don't think there's anything wrong about that. And I don't think there's anything wrong if our friends don't understand them or don't see them, etc., etc., etc. So to me it's just, again, like, it's like, oh, you're my best friend, you should know this about me. And it's like, well, it depends, yes, like the main features and traits and personality things, and things that make us afraid and things like that. But at the same time, we cannot, we're not um psychics and stuff like that. Sometimes there are things that
yeah,
people keep for themselves, and so what? It doesn't
yeah,
make us a worse friend than another. Like, I mean, um
yeah. Though I do, for me, the question will always be, what is the reason behind hiding something, or like not wanting to share, right? Now, it's not to say that like I have to go out there and like, oh, I need to tell you this, because you don't know this yet,
yeah, yeah,
um but if we have this kind of inner feeling of, sure, like I'm not saying that there's certain things that you just like don't feel the need to expose, just because it's not really alive within you.
yeah.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? But sometimes when like if it's something that it's constantly present in your life, then and they, like, if someone wants to hide it or not feel comfortable discussing it,
Hmm.
then I would always ask, okay, well, do
But
you
why?
feel, I would say either why, and then the other question would be like, well, maybe you don't feel comfortable discussing it with this specific person.
Sure.
So to me, I feel
Yes.
like I kind of come from this side where, to me, if something is very much alive within you, um, and um, and you don't really want to share it,
No, 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 that's
um,
true. That's true. No,
that's
because
kind of
for
how I
me,
look at it.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I have people in my life that know exactly everything that bothers me, everything that makes me afraid, everything, da da da. And there's just other people that don't really go to that extent. But I
Yeah.
don't have the same connection to those
And
people.
yeah, and I mean, but that's okay, right? Because I mean, we have, we have different, like, every person is a different connection
Yeah,
within our life,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's not to say that, it's not natural, like, to, as people think that, like, oh, I have 1,000, friends on Facebook. It's not natural for a human being to actually be as vulnerable and as close with all of those people. um we just don't have the
how do you
capability.
have the
Even the
mental
most
capacity to do that? I mean,
Yeah,
Jesus.
even the most extroverted people out there that
Yeah,
just love
no,
it,
no.
love to be with friends and out there.
Yeah.
It's just, there's, like, every I love the saying that, like, every experience or person comes for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? And so we our whole life, we're gonna have people that are just gonna be in our life forever.
Yes.
But everyone else, it's either going to be a phase, it's going to be a situation. They're either here to teach us something,
Yes.
or they're just here as, like, oh, just kind of like someone that, like, an acquaintance, like, just someone who, like, we say hello every once in a while.
And the I think the earlier we understand this categorization of friendships and connections, the
Mhm.
easier we go through life, and the easier and I think we also avoid um, a lot of suffering. I mean, to me,
Absolutely.
this is something that you taught me. When I had two of major friendship breakups and stuff like that, where
Hmm.
whenever my brain understood that principle, I think it just like something just really turned into in myself. Like it's
Yeah,
something
it
that I
shifted.
it shifted, like it changed completely, like my way of seeing the relationships and the connections that I have with people, and being okay if sometimes a connection that I thought would turn into something doesn't. I don't suffer as much as I have, because I have
Yeah.
their understanding of, like, well, this person was here for this period of time because I needed to see this and that, or whatever. So
Hmm.
it's a great shift in thinking, and it's something that really removes a lot of emotions and removes a lot of pain. It's just life, right?
Well, but kind of, this is a perfect example of this teaches us two major things in relationships, any kind of relationships or connections. And it's the fact that, again, a lot of us bring, what we've learned from previous generations, which is codependency, right? So
Mm.
when we're codependent, we get attached to someone so much that even though they're hurting us, we still cannot grasp
Yeah.
we cannot even envision a life without them. And that's when it becomes a little like unhealthy, right?
Yeah,
A little
definitely.
toxic. And then the other thing is, so you kind of evolving from, like, something like that, and kind of seeing that instantly, like, you're not only seeing it, but it's also like, oh, you're actually healing through codependency, which
Hmm.
isn't necessarily your trait. It's something that you've been healing from your generations, that you've been programmed
Ah,
with,
okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is so amazing. And it's also amazing that, like, any healing that we do, even on something that we've picked up from our ancestry and generations,
Mm.
we actually heal the lineage behind us. So it's actually, it's a beautiful, like, way to, like, go through, like, these experiences. So, like, we,
Mhm.
we we should actually, like, love all these experiences and everything that we get passed through, because we actually not only heal ourselves
Mhm.
and allow ourselves to evolve and move forward and all that stuff, but we're also healing, our parents and grandparents, and going back to all these generations
Oh,
and,
I like
and
that.
ancestry, right? So
I
it's
like
because
that.
we're all like again, a tree of life, right? If you're that one
Yeah,
branch that heals something, it goes back to the root.
yeah,
um so it's a nice visual, but then,
yeah. It's nice to think
yeah,
that.
and then, Like it makes you, like it makes you kind of look at like healing and kind of the evolution stages, like so much of like, because we could look at it as like, oh my gosh, my whole life is going to be about work, right?
Mm.
Change, and evolve. But like if we understand the reasons behind why we're doing it, it actually, it's almost like you develop even compassion for it, for that process, and for yourself. And you start realizing, oh my gosh, I'm actually helping the whole humanity and my families and
Mm.
everything in my background, that I get to do that for them, you know what I mean?
Mm, 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 mm,
um
mm, mm. No, no, I mean, it makes sense. It makes total sense. And I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful vision, honestly. It's a beautiful,
yeah.
really, really, really beautiful. My God. Okay.
And then the other aspect of like relationships, that's a relation, any kind of relationship. So yeah, there's the codependency, like kind of the biggest, like the unhealthy issues that come from relationships is obviously when there's that codependency present, which is a very generational aspect of personality. Again, it doesn't have to be like, you like, oh, I just, I became codependent because of my parents. No, it's something that has been running through like the past generations, that we just kind of, we have to evolve past it. And I think that further generations have done a really good job of it.
Mm,
um, I think we're the generations who are kind of healing through it still a little bit, but here and there, whoever needs to, but like it had to be done, right? But anyway, like I don't want to go into it deeper. So the other aspect of kind of relationships kind of going south is expectations, right? So having this expectation of like, and usually expectations are really nicely, you can fix having an expectation very nicely through really, really solid and good communication.
yeah.
But a lot of people don't know how to communicate. The
No.
majority of us don't know how to communicate. Um, so expectation is another thing where, like, our expectation of like, well, we're besties right now, so this has to be forever. It's more like, I wish this will be forever, because I love this person to death. But if we attach an expectation to it, then we pretty much we settle ourselves up for,
Failure.
at some point, not even failure, but like some sort of suffering and pain.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because with the expectation, it's like, well, but I'm expecting this person to be a certain way, or expecting this person to be here forever. And this person could be there forever, but what if, like, there's an accident, right? And this person, like, unfortunately needs to go, right? Because it's their time. And even a simple expectation of this person is in your life forever, and it's going to be forever, till you die.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes we have no control over it, right?
No,
So
exactly. But that's also a very important thing to say, where it's like, the forever and stuff. I like, it's as much as, I love my parents, I love my friends, I love my parent, my partner, my fiance, whatever, my partner, etc. But I'm also aware of the fact that, as you just said, shit happens. I mean, it's just
exactly.
like, oh, there's like, I will never ever love anyone the way I love.
Yeah.
How do you know that? How do you
Yeah,
cannot know that? So to me, it's like, I love you and I'm committed. And
exactly.
but
Absolutely.
life is so fucking
Unpredictable.
unpredictable that it's just like, I don't want to. It scares me to say something like that
Yeah,
because
and now it's also the same thing, like people, oh, they search for their like romantic soulmates, and they're like, they have this idea of like, oh, a soulmate is only one and forever and all that stuff. And like, I want to and maybe this is like a whole different topic that we're tapping into, but just to briefly kind of mention, like, to me, and there's actually people that are not meant to meet their soulmates, like
yeah,
in terms of like a romantic partner. It really depends on your journey. Not everyone is meant to be that.
yeah,
Not everyone is meant to be in a relationship. Not everyone is meant to be a mother. Not everyone is meant to have that traditional kind of lifestyle. Like,
no,
everyone's like path is different, right?
yeah,
But even soulmates, like, you could see, And this was actually someone that I was talking to, that it was like an older lady who she like she was through like three different relationships in her life. They were all like long-term relationships, and the first two was I mean, it was literally like just ended by death, right?
Mm.
And then she was with this third man, and if you ask her, like, you'd be like, you had all these amazing relationships, like, oh, which one did you like prefer, or which one was your soulmate, or who did you love the most? And she's like, they were at all different stages of my life. They were all amazing, and no other one is going to ever repeat the same thing. There's no
No,
such thing as the
exactly.
most. Everyone
Exactly.
has a bit of something
Yeah.
within them that I absolutely love, and I'm learning to love, and I'm evolving to loving them.
Mm.
But it's never going to be a repeat, because just as I was, back then, I was so completely different, and at that point in time, my love for that person was completely different. It's just never gonna repeat. And she's like, they're all my soulmates.
Yeah.
They were meant to be in my life. We were meant to have the best soulmate experience ever, but life, their life has
Life
ended.
happens. Exactly.
Life happened, and I am meant to be with this soulmate today,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. 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 And that's a very interesting thought.
I actually think that we all can have happiness,
Hmm.
but the majority of us decides to create unhappiness,
Hmm.
because again, it goes back to destiny and free will.
Hmm.
People think that that there's people that are suffering their whole life because they're in a mindset of, I am meant to suffer.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
um
God. Yes.
this
Yes.
kind of this archetype, martyrdom, like it's kind of this. And I mean, I don't know the exact history, so don't quote me at that, but this comes, like, a lot of it comes from like the religious backgrounds and stuff, from like the traditional religions, Catholic and all that stuff.
Hmm.
They would always, because Jesus was suffering on the cross, so we all have to suffer. And it is so engraved in us. I don't care if you're religious or not, I don't care if you practice it, if you're still in it or not. It goes from generations to generations. It's implanted with us that it's almost like, well, my life is all about suffering. No, no, no. We are not meant to suffer. We're not here to like suffer, and we're here to actually, like, happiness is our choice.
Mm,
um
mm, mm, mm.
and if like and in terms of destiny, like, it's leading you towards there. But if you keep on, everything you do and every choice you make in life is towards suffering, you're always gonna turn to the street that has more suffering. So that's you creating it through your free will.
I'm always the one that just kind of tries to find the silver lining, or the
Yeah.
positive in like negative things, and say like, okay, but maybe there's something that you can do about it. Maybe you can change this. Maybe like I'm a problem solver. So obviously for
Mhm.
me it's always like every problem in the world can be solved, except for maybe diseases and death and etc. But to me it's just kind of like,
Even, except for the things that you're destined with, I'm gonna say,
yeah,
I'm gonna add. But
yeah,
that is true though. Like, I like you've always been kind of this kind of like conflict resolution, this like problem
yeah.
solving. Like, you're
Oh
so
my
good at,
God,
like,
yeah,
you always see like, oh, but this can be turned that way, right?
yeah, yeah,
I like, for me, I have like problem solving is like whatever, but like for me, I'm always like a hopeful, like, I always see a brighter future,
yeah, yeah,
so for me, I'm always kind of the long term. I'm like, oh my gosh, but look at this, look at those
yeah,
possibilities, but oh,
exactly.
we're gonna get there. Like, I'm always kind of like, I'm the positive thinker. So and it's actually like, I have kind of this thing in my family where, like, the whole, the complaining, this and that, but like, I also like see a lot of kind of negativity for the future, right? So it's almost like, oh my gosh, but tomorrow, whatever. I'm like, it's not even tomorrow yet.
Why are we thinking about, yeah,
Like,
indeed.
why are we thinking about, like, I'm like, why are you setting yourself up for, well, where it's not even tomorrow? You still have
No,
5 hours before you
no.
go to bed.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. No, and it's just, I mean, it's just, it's, I get it, but at the same time, it's like,
But that's a perfect example of, like, that's why I love this saying, glass half full, glass half empty, right?
mm-mm,
Or, like, you take two people and everyone will see a different thing. And it's
yeah.
pretty much the same thing. It's just whatever you see. And, neither one is wrong or right, but it's just, that's how you create your reality. That's how you make your decisions based on free will, right?
Oh,
You look at
absolutely.
that glass and you say, oh, I picked this one because this one is half full, or I picked this one because this one is half empty.
Mm,
And that's how you live your life. Now, again, in terms of destiny, like, I don't think anyone is meant to be like living a miserable life or anything like that. Even if you did a lot of bad stuff in your past lives, like, you're still not meant to like suffer, like, you know because we all have a heart, and we all like, and heart is all about love and joy and peace and compassion. So the universe is going to guide you there. But again, if you're coming into this lifetime or living a life with a lot of karma and a lot of bad stuff that you've done, a
mm.
lot of people are going to keep on choosing that half empty glass and live in that victimhood or that suffering state, mindset and belief.
To me, it's just like, it's a matter of really wanting. It's like, oh, you have it easy, you're happy, you have, friends that love you, you have a partner that loves you, you're gonna, you have your own company, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's not that I have this stuff, is that I built it for myself. It is a big, 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 big difference. I mean,
Yes, and
you know
just because you built it, that doesn't mean you just built it and now you're gonna like chillax and have a glass of wine and just say, okay, dude, it's just gonna flow. You cherish it every single day. You
yes,
appreciate every single day. You work on it every single day. You try to improve
exactly.
it every single day. It's a commitment, right? It's
Yeah.
not. It's not that it's easy flow. And
And it's not that it rains from the sky. You build it over time.
absolutely,
So, I mean, to
absolutely.
me, it's like, I hate it when people say that, because I'm just like, what the fuck do you even know? Like, what the
Hmm.
fuck do you even know? Oh, easy for
You
you to
know,
say. What? Come on.
this also makes me think of, there's people that, those people that like want to have everything overnight. They just,
Yes. Yeah.
so it's pretty much like, instant gratification. They just want everything, now, now, now. It doesn't work. Okay, next, now, 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 right? And those people usually will suffer because those people will never be able to, until they change their mindset and work on their own shadow stuff,
Oh, totally.
they'll never be able to find fulfillment, success, and they'll never be able to actually build anything that they can actually look at the fruits of labor at some point. And then there's those people that even initially, when they're like, nothing is working, but you're kind of like, I'm gonna plow through it. I know this is my path. I know I'm gonna get there eventually. Those people are in the long term, and there's actually a lot of like spiritual studies on this, where there's a long term. Those people are the ones that actually live a fulfilled life.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
it doesn't surprise me at all. Like,
yeah,
because you know, some people have it all. Yeah, okay. Some people may be lucky. Some people may, fair enough. It might be easier or
yeah,
whatever,
and
but
again, I don't believe in luck. It's a creation. Um, some people, yes, some people might have a harder or a life or a beginning, a harder. Others might have it a little bit easier. But we
yeah,
just have to remember that we like it was our like if we have it harder, that means we did crap in past lives. I mean, that we have to work through.
yeah, yeah,
So we are given an opportunity to kind of get back on our feet, and we still have the capability. And like karma is a bitch, right? They say,
yeah.
right? And karma is a very complex thing too. Like, it's not as simple as that.
Mm.
But that's kind of the truth, where um you think, like we say, oh, a lot of people are like about revenge, right? It's like, oh my gosh, but this person did this to me or whatever, right? And how will they like not pay for karma? And I always say, don't worry about it. The universe will get them. If it's not this lifetime, it's going to be next lifetime. Don't focus on yourself. Don't worry about them.
Yeah, but it's that's instant gratification again, huh? Because it's like you want
Exactly.
the revenge now.
Exactly. And to me, it's like if someone is doing like really nasty or shady things, you know what you do? You just kind of step away and give them the way to do whatever they want.
Whatever. I mean,
Because eventually they will hit that pole and they'll be
oh
like,
yeah,
oh,
oh yeah,
if it's not this time, it's going to be next lifetime.
I agree.
So
It's gonna come.
so we don't have to worry about others, we just have to worry about ourselves. Like, that's the beauty of it. We don't have to take on like world's problems. Like, if start with you, and once your cup is full and you see the cup being half full,
Yeah,
then you can go out there and start helping others and stuff.
absolutely. Totally agree with that. Absolutely, 100%. And it's not.
Otherwise you're not
It's
there yet.
no, no, and you've got a lot of work to do, honestly.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah.
Stay tuned for more and join our community at AuthenticSpacePodcast.com and on Instagram at AuthenticSpacePodcast.